There was a world on this planet before ours, not a myth, not a fantasy, but a real chapter of Earth that ended long before history learned how to remember. Before the last ice age, Earth was warmer, calmer, and vastly different. Sea levels were lower. Coastlines stretched far beyond what we see today. Entire regions that are now ocean once supported life, movement, and settlement. This was not a brief moment in time. These stable conditions lasted for thousands of years, longer than the entire span of recorded human history. Long enough for cultures to form, long enough for knowledge to accumulate, long enough for a way of life to emerge and feel permanent. Humans did not suddenly appear after the ice retreated. They were already here. For countless generations, people lived along these ancient shores, following rivers that no longer exist and coastlines that are now buried beneath rising seas. They adapted to predictable seasons. They learned animal migrations. They understood weather cycles. They organized themselves around food, water, and shelter. And slowly, a world took shape that would never survive to be named. Then the climate began to fail. Temperatures dropped rapidly, not over millions of years, but in sudden, violent shifts. Within a few thousand years, familiar environments collapsed. Ice sheets expanded across continents. Glaciers miles thick advanced southward, grinding landscapes into dust and crushing everything in their path. At the same time, melting ice caused oceans to rise more than 100 meters. The first places to disappear were the coastlines, the very regions where early civilizations were most likely to exist. Entire homelands vanished beneath the sea, forcing survivors inland into harsher, unfamiliar worlds. This wasn't a slow inconvenience. It was a planetary reset. What vanished wasn't just land. It was memory. Some researchers describe these shifts as abrupt pulses, sudden warming, sudden freezing, as if the planet was stumbling, trying to find balance. There were moments when meltwater surged into the oceans, raising shorelines faster than a lifetime could adapt. For people living near the sea, it would have felt like the world was being taken, day by day. When survival becomes the only law, cities do not last. Records do not last. The people who endure carry only what fits in their hands and what fits in their heads. So the oldest history becomes a warning, not a calendar. A story about water, cold, and the mistake of believing the ground will always stay where it is. Archaeology is drawn to dry land, but the most likely homes of early coastal societies are now underwater, sealed beneath silt. If the first settlement stood on those drowned plains, we shouldn't expect to find them easily. We should expect echoes, scattered stones, displaced tools, and memories that outlived the structures themselves. Today, we find stone tools buried beneath layers of sediment in places where no humans were supposed to exist. We find ancient maps that depict ice-free polar regions and coastlines that only existed before the Ice Age reshaped the planet. We find massive stone structures showing erosion from prolonged rainfall in regions that have been deserts for thousands of years. Each discovery on its own can be dismissed, but together they form a pattern that refuses to disappear. Across the world, ancient cultures speak of a time before the Great Cold. They describe a previous age that ended in floods, darkness, and sudden destruction. Different continents, different languages, the same memory. Not preserved as science, preserved as survival. Because when a civilization collapses completely, knowledge doesn't vanish all at once. It fractures. It becomes story. It turns into symbols passed from generation to generation, long after their original meaning is forgotten. The Ice Age did not just challenge humanity. It erased the evidence that humanity had already tried once before. Anything built from wood, earth, or early stone near the coast was swallowed by rising seas. Anything inland was buried beneath advancing ice or scraped away by glacial movement. What little survived was scattered, broken, and misunderstood by those who came later. Civilization didn't begin once and steadily climb upward. It rose, collapsed, and had to begin again from fragments. That makes our world different from the one before it. We didn't inherit their cities. We inherited their silence. And perhaps that is the most unsettling realization of all. Earth doesn't destroy civilizations slowly. It removes them so completely that the next ones believe they are the first. If a world existed before the Ice Age, and it vanished almost without a trace, then the question isn't whether we are advanced. It's whether we are permanent.